Hey, Shalom. I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Shemi Shai, Bashim Kakudash, double honors to the Apostle James of Great Millstone, and Shalom, a blessing to the hopefully elect. All right, I'm coming at you with a video, all right, from Yahoo News, and it states that Madagascar on brink of the first famine caused by climate change. Okay, it says, after suffering through years of drought that has devastated crop yields, the African island nation of Madagascar is on the cusp of experiencing the first official famine clearly caused by climate change, according to officials with the United Nations. The situation is really critical. Around 512,000 people are one step away from famine. Shada Maghrebi, a spokesperson for the UN World Food Program, told Yahoo News some families have been left with no alternative but to scavenge for food, including locusts. All right, you can see the picture there. All right, a woman holding locusts, which is lawful to eat. All right, but the point of this article is that great famine is coming. Okay, it says they're at the highest level of food insecurity. She said they're at the stage where most of them are surviving on foods such as cactus fruit, which have hardly any nutritional value. Staple crops in Madagascar include rice, sugarcane, cassava, and sweet potatoes, but 5 years of drought are taking a heavy toll. Every year, Madagascan families, they're jumping from one failed harvest to the next, Maghrebi said, and it's looking that the coming season as well, it's going to be another poor harvest. So that is not only just impacting the people who cannot grow enough to feed their families, let alone do business. Madagascar's current drought is its worst in 4 decades, but while droughts have always been a threat to the country's agriculture economy, scientists say that the frequency and severity of droughts there have been increased by climate change. Warmer temperatures due to greenhouse gas emissions cause more evaporation, leading to dried out vegetation and intensified periods of low precipitation. That's why the UN warned in late October that Madagascar was the recipient of what could become the first famine caused by climate change. The bleak milestone should not be taken to mean that climate change hasn't factored into previous droughts, and food insecurities has been on the rise for years, driven in part by climate change. The number of extreme climate-related disasters, including extreme heat, droughts, floods, and storms, has doubled since the early 1990s, with an average of 213 of these events occurring every year during the period of 1990 through 2016. The UN's Food and Agriculture Organization reported in 2018 these disasters harm agriculture productivity of major crops such as wheat, rice, and maize, causing food price hikes and income losses that reduce people's access to food. But full-blown families are declared only when certain benchmarks are met, including when at least 1/5 of households face extreme food shortages. More than 30% of residents are suffering from acute malnutrition, and at least 1 of every 5,000 people per day are dying of starvation. Just because famine is not declared does not mean that people are not dying from the starvation, said Maghrebi about Madagascar's current state. People may be dying from starvation, but that also connected to illness, so it's not solely by starvation. Obviously, when you're malnourished, then your chances of being vulnerable to disease is much higher, and therefore you don't have the energy to fight those diseases. And we see that with the pandemic and C-19 putting people at higher level of vulnerability because they're food insecure. While droughts and other climate change-related disasters have contributed to previous famines, they typically arise in situations Slovakia, exacerbated by events like civil war or mass displacement. Unlike other crises where we have a high level of food insecurity, usually the cause of that is conflict. Think about South Sudan or Yemen, Mogberry said, referring to two other current crises, but in southern Madagascar, it's purely climate. There are also ongoing food shortages in countries such as Somalia, caused by partly by droughts. Hey man, you're hearing about a lot about droughts, man. It's happening everywhere. All right. In the west coast of America, all right, the Midwest. The drought was horrible this year. And the forest fires, okay, and you see, they're having droughts in Madagascar, all right, and in Somalia, all right. And the Lord warned about all this stuff. It said, in addition to long-running political conflict, with about 2.3 million people already suffering with serious water, food, and pasture shortages in Somalia, a rapidly worsening drought could lead to an extreme situation by April next year. The UN New Agency reported last Friday Somalia is on the front line of climate change and has experienced more than 30 climate-related hazards since 1990, including 12 drought and 19 floods. I don't know how to say that name. Kadajia Diarrhea, Diarrhea, the Somali Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, told the UN that families are losing their livestock, which could lead to deadly starvation. I'm particularly worried about children, women, and elderly and disabled people who continue to bear the brunt of Somalia's humanitarian crisis, she said. And you can see the picture there, all right? You see the lake is dried bone, all right? None but dust. It says, all right, see a lot of these, but I'm going to continue. Like most victims of famine and other climate change related crises, Madagascarians and Somalians are simply by virtue of being poor among those who have done the least to cause the climate change. Madagascar's 28 million residents create. Wow, Madagascar had 28 million. A little island like that has. Oh snap! I didn't even realize that. Madagascar's 28 million residents create just 1% of annual carbon emission. You see, and right there they're telling you that's about what Esau plans to do. All right, because we really know there's no such thing as climate change. All right, this is an excuse to basically to trim the. I don't want to say, because then YouTube's gonna. Basically, it's the great culling, all right? Esau, according to his Georgia Guidestone, he wants to eliminate. He wants the world population to be under 500,000, or I forgot how much people. 500 million people, all right? I believe, all right. So that means he plans on killing. He plans on killing billions of people, all right. Because according to Esau, the earth is overpopulated, okay? And I'm going to get to that, all right? It says, collectively, the 48 countries and 114 billion residents of sub-Saharan Africa have contributed only 55% of cumulative greenhouse gas emissions. The United States, with a population of 330 million, has produced 25% of historical emission. Right now, the WFP says it needs 69 million to feed the more than 1 million people per month who need assistance in Madagascar. Over the long run, the organization says it wants to better equip farmers in developing nations to be prepared for climate change, extreme weather events, for example, by having improved irrigation systems that can protect crop yields during droughts. And another thing I want to say about this climate change, it's a big money maker, all right, for Esau, all right. These are people who have contributed nothing to climate change but are bearing the brunt of the impact of climate change. Mogbury noted the impact is going to grow in Madagascar and throughout the world. All right, and here are photos. All right. Damn, man. This is horrible. You can see the woman's bone structure and veins. How dry she is. Look at her knees, man. Oh, man. And this is what's coming to America. Okay? Believe it or not, it's not far off. Wow. Are you serious? Just, whoa. It's so bad out there. Look, it says, over here it says, John Arisian Rivera, a 73-year-old farmer in the village of Anquiladoga, shows a small basin dug. Oh, okay. I thought it said, all right. I thought it meant dung, like shit, but it said dug. My eyes play tricks on me, but yeah, though, man. Look at this, man. Little girl, right? Even the cattle look, you know. Yeah, eating watermelon seeds. All right. Wow, a woman's doing laundry, so she has to dig a hole just to get to the water. Man, it's that bad, man. But anyway, I'm going to close out with this, all right? It says 2 Ezra 16, verse 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. All right? Let's talk about the elites in these world governments. All right? The beginning of evils, and what shall I do when these evils shall come? And the Bible, for those people that say the Bible's not real, I mean, if I were you, man, I'll have a second guess on that, man. Because anybody that says that, man, hey, man, I'm not even gonna, the Most High is gonna show you, man, all right? But with that, you know, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Shema Shai, Shema Kakudash, double honors to the Apostle Jim S. Great Millstone. Salutations, shalom, blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.